AFIO Now is presented by Northwest Financial Advisors, where our world revolves around you.
Everyone, this is Jim Hughes with AFIO Now. We are a program of recorded interviews with former U.S. intelligence officers and those who write about them. And today I am delighted to welcome back someone who is both. Barry Broman joined the CIA after fighting with the U.S. Marine Corps in Vietnam. His first tour as an agency officer was in war-torn Cambodia. Barry served once as a deputy chief of station, twice as a chief of station, and was involved in a major international paramilitary program to support the Cambodians against Vietnamese insurgents into Cambodia. He is a much sought after speaker, author, photographer. He's done 9 documentaries, and he's written a series of books. About 8 months ago, we did an AFIO Now interview with him on his true life experiences called Indochina Hand. And now Barry has a series of novels out that he's been working on. The first one, which came out in 2023, is called The Spy from Place Saint-Sulpice. And the most recent book that I just finished reading and thoroughly enjoyed is called The Spy from Sukhumvit Road. Barry, welcome back to AFIO Now.
Thank you for having me, Jim.
I think it would be fun to start off by relating to our audience how you arrived in Bangkok as a rather young man.
Okay. Well, in 1962, I was a student at the University of Illinois while my father was serving as civil engineer advisor to the Royal Thai Air Force, mainly building runways. He offered me the opportunity to drop out of college for 1 year to come out to Bangkok with him as a dependent, just to see how it was in Southeast Asia. We'd already been 4 years in England when I was younger, and that was a great experience. So this was an opportunity to see Asia, and I accepted the offer, went out to Bangkok. In 1962, it was a pretty quiet place, not many tourists, but still very interesting. And my father belonged to the Royal Bangkok Sports Club, which is a fantastic place. It had lawn tennis courts and this and that. And I was playing tennis all day and then drinking all night with some of the other American expat kids. And after about 2 weeks, my father said, this isn't quite what I had in mind for your year abroad. So if you don't get a job, you can plan to be back in Champaign, Illinois at the end of the summer. So the only ideas I had for work would be as a photographer, because at Illinois, as a freshman, I was a photographer for the Daily Illini. When one of my pledge brothers in a fraternity was Dick Butkus, who was a well-known football player, and I helped promote him through photography at the Daily Illini. So anyway, I had some photography background. I went down to the local Associated Press office, introduced myself. I had some clippings. I thought it was a long shot, but the bureau chief, Tony Escoda, great guy, said, "Can you go to Korat tomorrow?" I said, sure. Now, Korat was one of the air bases that we were improving, building bigger, making bigger. And at this time, in the summer of 62, there was a crisis in Laos across the Mekong River, and the U.S. Army and Marines were sending troops into Thailand, and AP needed a photographer. They had a Thai photographer who was a really good guy, didn't speak a word of English. So they needed someone that could handle English. So I went up, came back, got the job, and for the next year, I was the AP photographer for Thailand with assignments to Cambodia and to South Vietnam. First time I was shot at was as an AP photographer in the Mekong Delta. So that was my year in Asia, and I really enjoyed it. Going out, I was going to be a South American specialist. I had Spanish language. But after 2 weeks in Bangkok, I said, I'm going to be an Indochina hand, and I became one.
It's a great story. I really love it. Barry, where does the new novel take place primarily?
Okay, this book, The Spy from Sukhumvit Road, which is part of a series, and the series pretty much follows my career. And this is 1990 in Bangkok. And at that time, there was an active war going on in Cambodia between the Vietnamese puppet government installed in Phnom Penh and the resistance to overthrow or oust the communists. Book one, which takes place in Paris earlier, has the protagonist, Rick, in Paris, working with the Cambodian resistance as it was growing. And now we're following them in book two to Thailand, where the main, this was part of a paramilitary project that I ran for the agency at the time. So it's a historical novel. Okay, a lot of the facts are true. A lot of the action is fiction. But so Bangkok is the center of this, but there's a lot of activity across the border into Cambodia with the resistance. There's some fighting. There's rescue operations going on. There's Vietnamese attacks. So it's got a lot of action.
What's the significance of Sukhumvit Road?
Okay, Sukhumvit Road is a major artery in Bangkok, and it runs through the high-end real estate markets. On my first tour in Bangkok, I was living on Soi 4. Soi is lane, and there's about 120 lanes off the main street. My second tour, when running this project, I was on Soi 49. So it's just a major street in Bangkok.
Richard Blayne, your protagonist. Who are some of the other characters in the book, and what are their roles?
Well, Rick works for a guy named Willie Knox, and Willie is the chief of station. Now, in my novels, most of my characters are based on real people, and a lot of the action is fiction. But Willie was one of my chiefs of station and really good officer, a China hand. And in fact, it was Willie that got me up to Bangkok, or Willie's true character got me to Bangkok to run the project because I spoke Thai, spoke French, been in Cambodia, and knew some of the players. And whereas Willie is a China hand and he needs a local guy to run the project. So he's one guy. Then there's a Thai general, Noi is his nickname. This is a guy that Rick had worked with earlier after the fall of Cambodia in 1975. Rick went to Thailand and he worked closely with this Thai officer who became, by the time this book takes place, he's a 2-star general and really an outstanding guy. And Noi has a daughter. Her name is Nat. Nat is a real cutie pie. She's a graduate of Oxford. She's a barrister in London and went home to Thailand to work as a lawyer for King Bhumibol, the king of Thailand. So she's the romantic interest in this book. I won't tell you what happens, but she's a major character. And then I've got a character we call Jackie. Jackie is a former Belgian mercenary. And again, he's based on a real person, now passed away. And he's a character. He's a guy that the agency does not want to use because of his shadowy background. But he happens to be a good friend of Rick's. And we see him in book one in Paris. And now we're seeing him in book two in Bangkok. And he gets involved. He's a war lover and he's a tough guy. And he does things for Rick off the books. So those are some of the main characters.
Oh, there's some real espionage work going on as well, including one of our principal enemies.
Yeah, the main theme of the book is the support to the Khmer resistance. But at the same time, Rick does some recruiting And one of his agents actually was a guy he had recruited in Paris, and he was part of the Vietnamese puppet government. This was called the PRK, People's Republic of Kampuchea. They were the communists. So Rick recruited him in Paris, and now that guy's on the other side, inside Cambodia. And he's being handled through secret writing. It's all kind of complex. But that guy alerts, again, I don't want to give away too much, he alerts Rick to coming attack. And in so doing, he gets blown. His cover is blown, and he goes on the run. So they have to go in and rescue him. Rick also recruits a Chinese communist agent who has been working with the Khmer Rouge, the communists who are still in the jungle. Rick recruits a number of other people. So Rick's a headhunter, which is what I was.
So I recall there are some royal connections in the book. Who are they?
Okay, of course, at the time, the king of Thailand was King Bhumibol, really an outstanding fellow. Actually born in Cambridge, Massachusetts, when his father was at Harvard Med School. So the royal connection is that Noi, the colonel, or actually the general now, is kind of the palace liaison within the army. He's a career army officer, but because of his palace connections, the king kind of uses him to be his point man with the military who are running the country. And that's how Noi's daughter, Nat, gets a job working for the king. The king had a number of programs, and she was involved in crop substitution for opium growers in northern Thailand. And so that's where the palace connection comes in. I don't use it heavily, but there's a couple of important points. And part of which is that the activities that the king was doing were generally outstanding.
What role does golf play in the novel?
Well, if you're going to be in liaison with the Royal Thai Army, you'd better be able to play golf. Okay, this is where the action is. And in fact, golf isn't a sport I particularly like, but I had to play it if I wanted to talk to Thai generals outside the office. So in point of fact, we had in real life, we had a weekly session with the Thai counterparts on this project. I had 4 counterparts. Each of them was a major general. Each of them retired as a 4-star. And about half the intelligence reports I put out, and there were a lot, I got on the golf course.
In the book, you describe a very daring airborne rescue operation into Cambodia. Did your real life experience working in Cambodia help you make that description?
Well, actually, my real life experience, I was in Cambodia from 73 to 75 when it fell, and we didn't have any U.S. military involvement. After the bombing, Congress halted bombing in Cambodia, American bombing in 73. So the action probably would have come more from my Vietnam experience as an infantry officer in the Marine Corps, using choppers for rescues and whatnot. And the rescue in this case is a helicopter.
And is there perhaps a third novel in the works?
Well, there is, yeah. I originally planned this as a trilogy, and the third book I'm working on now, it takes place in Burma. Going after a drug lord. And again, this follows my career. My last posting in the agency, I was chief of station in Rangoon. So I'm having great fun reliving activities, operations, recruitment. Some of these same characters will appear in the third book.
The name of this book is The Spy from Sukhumvit Road. It's a great read. Both the espionage and the paramilitary descriptions are true to life. And I want to thank Barry Broman for a great now interview.
Jeb, thank you very much for bringing me back. Maybe I'll see you again down the road.
Sure.
AFIO is a small, nonprofit, apolitical, educational organization whose main mission is to help prepare the next generation of intelligence officers To learn more or support our outreach programs, visit www.afio.com.